And we're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 16 of Talk No Jutsu Live. Oh man, so we've done 16 of these. That I've had so many people on. It's okay. So today we have Ironcaster.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Get a little bit of a. There we go. Had a little feedback. I guess I forgot to close or at least mute the other tab.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
happens.
Jinsek, how's it going? Here, hey, because we're on Streamlabs, I can actually highlight your comments now. Can't really do that when I'm streaming games. Yeah, so today we're just gonna it's gonna be a very chill episode. Don't have a lot of articles or any like topics. So we're just mostly just gonna be talking about like I guess tabletop anime gaming because we're both into tabletop RPGs. Like I've been playing no like Ironcaster's like he's old school D&D.
Well, I mean, it's a little new school, old school. Like once you really get into a lot of the details of a lot of it all, you find out that there's.
Oh
Oh,
oh my
whoa!
God, Orc! Holy cow! Oh, thank you. Oh man, you. Oh, oh my God! He giant robot. Ah, nice, nice. I think he posted that for you.
I love it.
Oh
Thank
man.
you.
Oh wow. Amazing super sticker. Thank you. Oh wow. Yeah. So anyway, what were we talking about? We. Oh yeah, tabletop.
Yes. Uh,
Yeah. So
so so it's been a little bit of a interesting little kind of discovery with a lot of the role playing games. Like I said, a little new school, old school, because one of my preferred favorite systems right now is a bit of a throwback to like the earlier editions, and plus there's just something kind of something relaxing about kind of getting away from a lot of like the mainstream 5e
yeah.
river of stuff.
Yeah. I know, especially with this new edition. Like, first they weren't first they started altering 5e like, after like the orc stuff, and then they're trying to push everyone to this new edition that looks even worse. Oh, it's tough, like tough being a keeping up with modern D&D. I still play at my a game shop. It used to be, I moved, so like, it's in a town. Like I have a local game shop. Like, everyone there's mostly nice. Like, we have fun, but I've been like longing for a more grittier campaign.
Well, the big thing I'm going to be curious to see what's going to happen is how well people are going to take to the new rulebook.
I've so far all I've seen is mostly negative stuff, but that's probably just mostly like our people, like our little like people with like our opinions about like woke culture and stuff.
Yeah, and that's one of those other things to kind of not make the mistake of just assuming that because your bubble has a certain opinion of things that's the general audience's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's still like people are still like heavily into D&D, but like, it's going to be like, when Wizards like makes a change that even like, like the people that are currently supporting them hate, which like, they started to do like, when they started like doing Tabitha's, some of the changes like people got really like mad. And so like, that's started to happen, but it's like not like oh, and let's not forget the whole that whole debacle with the third party licensing agreements.
Oh yes, the open game license, the OGL.
Yeah, like people have blamed that on like possibly tanking the movie.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that was entirely going to be the case. Uh, it certainly didn't help 2 months out from that movie about hitting theaters, but I kind of question whether or not general audiences cared enough with all that going on that they might have gone out and seen it.
Yeah, true, like the general audience. But that movie, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
What did
Now,
you think of it?
so I've caught about maybe about a half hour of it. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. I did eventually buy it, but again, just time hasn't been there for me.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
And that is the thing though. That I've from a lot of people who I've listened to that I do trust who have seen it. They've said mostly positive things about it. They're like, yeah, it's fine. Ultimately, it's just kind of a matter of, can I find the time to watch this? And even then, there's sometimes some kind of a better alternative. There is a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Well, D&D movie. I strongly recommend people check out. It was a little fan made project, and I cannot get enough of this movie. I love it. Me and my friends, every time we sit down and play, it's a movie we wind up quoting constantly. It was called The Gamer's Darkness Rising.
The Gamer's Darkness Rising.
And you could just find it uploaded on YouTube. This was like basically a little passion project of people who played back like, I think they just funded a new movie to sort of wrap up their story, and this was sort of one of the more popular takes on it. But this is from about 20 years ago, maybe.
Interesting.
And sort of the fun thing with it is watching it. It's the players sitting down to play through a game, but then we cut to the in-game with them playing their characters. So you're getting to see both sides of the coin, and that's really the perfect take on D&D as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that does sound a good way to like make a D&D movie. Like show people playing and then show the adventure.
Because you've got the player who is the sort of the min-max munchkin who's got all the stats for all the monsters memorized, and he's like, no, we play by the book. And you have the dungeon master who's saying, well, it doesn't suit the nature of the story I'm trying to tell. The storytelling should trump the rules. And then you have the players who are just complete chaos, and the guy who just cannot roll well to save his life, so he keeps getting characters killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah, thank you, Tripping Orc. That is, I believe that's the movie.
That's good. And Orc has mod status, so that link should be able to work. Yes, if anyone wants to check out that movie, click Orc's link. But yeah, so it is going to be interesting whether or not people like really accept the new edition. Like, like I'm going to make a prediction that like it's going to be controversial. I think there's going to be a bunch of 5e players that are just going to stick to like maybe older 5e, or maybe even like, or whatever version they want, because like, ultimately Wizards can make all these like the changes they want. They can't control how people play the game.
Right. Well, they can't do that, but we can kind of expect to see. So I think the big question is going to be, how well are people going to take to this new edition that has the built-in, games as a service, mechanic and mindset into the game, because they're going to be selling you like what we'll call D&D Plus, to be able to have access to all the books, to be able to get your fancy little where every month you're signed up, they'll probably have like a special custom miniature or some digital dice. Like, these ones are blue this month with green sparkles. And that they want. And there was an interview that came up recently where I believe the CEO of Hasbro was saying they want to basically chase the Fortnite-ification of D&D.
Oh God, no.
And in fact, there was another interview that had just kind of come up this week that was kind of making some rounds. what was her name? Lenzillo. Let's see, to read the quote here. Our final question for Lenzillo brought us back, and this is from comicbook.com, brought us back to the new core rulebooks as to what she hoped fans would take away from it. Quote, I'll use filthy magic terminology first, but when you have a magic card and it's great, you love it in your deck, and a new one comes out and it's strictly better, you're going to want to use it. In other words, kind of what you could sort of expect is, well, we're gonna continue to put out additional rules books. We're gonna continue to put out new material, and a lot of it's probably gonna be strictly better than the stuff you were playing with before. And what player doesn't want to have a +2 sword over a +1 sword?
So it's going to be pay to win almost.
Bingo.
Oh
And
man, all
and
of that just
to
sounds like it's taking like the spirit from the game. Like, that's all supposed to be about your imagination.
well, I mean, they still want to sell you on that, but it's just you also then have to take into consideration the fact that new players coming in, like in 5 years, the 11-year-olds, the 13-year-olds who want to play Dungeons and Dragons for the first time, they have no idea about any of this OGL fiasco. To them, that was years ago. That was before their time. They want to play what's currently out now. They want to play what's the popular edition. Well, it's going to be the newest edition. They're betting on the future.
Yeah. I'm well, I'm hoping it doesn't work out because I just like feel like, they messed up this edition late in the game by like, trying to like saying like, oh, like we made it super inclusive, but now it's not inclusive enough by 2015 standards. So now we have to like upend entire D&D lore to appease like even thing. And then the new one, they have to do it again. And then in 5 years from now, they'll have to do it again when like people are even more like, hopefully not, because I honestly think like we're at a tipping point. But like, who knows if the corporations will ever like catch on that we've reached that tipping point.
I mean, personally, myself, like I've got my alternatives to play. I've got countless alternatives. Like I have shelves full of books I want to get to. I'm still giving Hasbro money to some extent because they do have books licensed out. There's a Transformers role playing game. Hasbro isn't making it, but they are getting a check for having the license fee.
Yeah, it's like like I like when I went to see Alien. Yeah, I already gave Disney money when I went to Deadpool. So like it's but I had been like for the most part been avoiding everything they've been putting out. So like I for if anything I feel like I did my part in like trying to like stop them from being shit.
Well, that's the big challenge, though, is finding places where it's okay, where you can pull back. I mean, I think it's what Eric July was saying. Find ways to do just 51% to an alternative. And
Yeah, Eric's got the right idea.
yeah, I tell you what, like when I go to the comic shop, I'm not picking up Marvel books. I'm not picking up DC books. I'm picking up a lot of indie stuff. I'm grabbing the Conan the Barbarian. I'm grabbing the G.I. Joe book, the Destro, Transformers. There's a lot of great alternatives out there. Like I've got Gotcha Man.
Ooh. Yeah.
Mostly
I just stick to mostly I just stick to manga these days. I've always was always hard for me to get into like comics. I've tried. It's just like the manga. I just feel like manga's a better format. It's easier to like get the whole story. You don't have to go back like 60 years to like, get like everyone's backstory.
And manga has a couple of other advantages too. It's easy to be able to just like that. It's easy to figure out where to start. You also have the advantage of price. Like manga can beat comics just in terms of the dollar to page value, because that book that Gotcha Man book is $4 or $5, whereas that's just for about they'll say 32 pages of comic, 32 pages of story. versus if I were to go out and buy a trade of manga, a volume of manga, it'll be what, let's say 12 to 15, 12 maybe $12 to $15 for what, 180 pages. It's not even close.
Yeah. And can so like manga can get pretty expensive by individual volume, but yeah, it does seem like you won't finish it. It'll take at least like it won't take you won't finish it as quickly as like a single comic.
Yeah, and plus, yeah, but there's that value to it too. Comics have just frankly gotten to be too expensive to really be able to justify being a big supporter of this in this day and age. And I say this as someone who does, again, is still buying comics. I was just at my shop today. I'm supporting indie books online, but it's hard. It's hard to be able to support too many of the indies when we're talking a $35 book, a $15 book, 20
Yeah, and then
bucks.
they take forever to get here. Like books are like showing up at my like, and I forgot I even backed them.
Now, that said, there are a couple of the indie comics, like the crowdfunders, that I cannot recommend enough. Like, especially in the little manga scene, I'd say probably the single most successful one. It's not an Eric July book. It's Common America,
Oh yeah, Common America.
which
Um,
they're on volume 9 now. In the past like 3 years, they've put basically out 3 books a year. They're a hardcover book, like 48 pages each for $10.
yeah, like I can see like a good art style. I got something from I think like the person who does it. I got that like that one. Well, I don't want to get like too political, but I got one of their political comics.
The Trump ones.
I think you know. Yeah, I think you know the one. I did get that one. The one where he's in space. It was pretty fun.
No, oh yeah, it makes sense. He did a Space Force book.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I mean they have one of the best campaigns out. They've got action figures now.
Oh, wow. Then that is a sweet action figure. Like you can like see her ass like completely. Oh,
Oh yeah,
oh man, nice.
multiple head sculpts, different multiple hairs,
Oh,
accessories. Plus,
wow.
I think
So
they're.
it's like the full like anime figurine.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. The Mafex is a good comparison, or the SH Figure Arts.
Yeah, figure arts. Yeah, I've got a couple of those. Like I got one for Beerus and I've got one for Power with the interchangeable heads.
I have up here one of my many little Common Rider guys.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's like
You're a
this.
Kamen Rider fan.
He's like the cooler Spider. He's like the cooler Spider-Man. We have Japanese Spider-Man at home. He's the Spider-Man your girlfriend told you not to worry about.
So you mean the Spider-Man that has a giant robot and uses a gun?
Oh
I've heard about Japanese Spider-Man.
no, this was from one of the other Kamen Rider series, but it's like
No, I do know there was a Japanese Spider-Man
yes,
show that was really, really out there.
yeah. I think
That
I
had
think people have said it's more or less one of the first. It basically helped inspire Super Sentai. So without Spider-Man, without Stanley cutting the deal in Japan, we basically wouldn't have Power Rangers.
interesting. Like, so that weird, like, Spider-Man show actually inspired, like, its own subgenre of, like, live action stuff in Japan. That's interesting. And which, of course, which then inspired Power Rangers, where they used the stock footage. And then I was so mad when Beetleborgs just stopped.
Oh,
I was a disappointed kid. I had all the action. I collected those things, man.
oh, dude, you just that hit a soft spot for me. I was a big Beetleborg fan too.
Yeah.
No, it was great, and especially it's always kind of funny going back and then looking at the original source material and seeing just how different in a lot of ways it was.
Yeah. I don't know anything like about like the original source material for Power Rangers or Beetleborgs, but like I just know that what we got.
The thing is it ultimately it became a colossal empire, and the fact that like the Saban was able to sell it to Disney for a big chunk of money, and then Disney basically ran it into the ground, and he turned around, he bought it back for a fraction of the cost, and he turned around and sold it to off the Hasbro. I got to give the guy props.
Oh wow. That is good because yeah, I think like they're doing like Power Rangers stuff on Netflix now, and I know I saw that crazy video game that's coming out. Like
Oh,
I'm sure you've seen.
so the Netflix deal fell through. Netflix doesn't want to pursue it, so Power Rangers is basically kind of in a limbo. Like Hasbro basically doesn't want to finance a new show because
Ah,
and it seems like they're kind of largely yeah kind of mothballing it because Hasbro doesn't seem to really want to do a whole new series of it, and they've been making
well,
all kinds of
Hasbro
efforts
is
to.
really hurting for cash right now. They've really like and, then that's bled into the whole D&D thing is because like they
Yep.
need like all this money and they need like but they don't really know how to get it because like just like because of like the state of things
And
and
it's well it's a multifaceted problem because one, kids don't play with toys like they used to, and in fact the biggest market for toys is adult collectors. You have the fact that Hasbro's been kind of stuck holding the bag for Disney's misfortunes, and they've had to make toys for unpopular films. We gotta have acolyte toys out because it's part of the contract. We gotta put out all these Eternals action figures that unfortunately the stores
yeah
don't
they
want.
did yeah they made a ton of those Eternals action figures I remember and that movie like no one even talks about it anymore.
Well, and
It's
the thing is, it gets kind of worse because Disney was kind of forcing them to do that. They Hasbro wants to sell Spider-Man action figures because that is one of the best-selling action
yeah, that
characters
will
they
always
have.
sell.
But the thing is, Disney is putting in mandates saying, well, we need to have X number of female characters. So you're going to make the Spider Gwen. You're going to make the blonde Black Widow. You're going to make all these less popular characters. Otherwise, you're going to lose the license. And those
Well,
Spider Man. And the thing is, those Spider Man figures are just lucrative enough that they kind of do it.
yeah, well, I mean, like it's also with all the like, all the people into the whole Spider-Verse thing, I'm not, but like, for all the people that are into all these like spider variants, like I guess like they collect them, I guess. So like there's more money to be made there.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm Peter Parker. That's Spider-Man for me. Hey, Riot Kitty.
And
All right.
they're they're
Yes.
they're fine for just having something to kind of try for a little bit, but I don't want 50 flavors of Spider-Man. I just want Spider-Man. I just want Peter
Yeah,
Parker.
I just want yep, Peter Parker. Yep, nothing against Miles as his own character, but this whole like name game like that people have been playing with Miles, like it's just like he can't be his own character if he's Spider-Man. Like, like there can't be two Spider-Men at the same time. It's just confusing. Like, either give him a new name and make him his own, develop his arc, like any good writer, or just stop like trying to carbon copy Spider-Man but black. Like,
Yeah,
and from what I understand, there is stuff you can do with Miles. He has enough of a like different background to work with, but like, it's just people they're just choosing not to like really like differentiate him.
yeah, that's the big challenge because they have to like for like marketing reasons they have to make them legally distinct. So you look at any bit of the Miles Morales merchandise, it says it is Miles Morales.
Yep.
You look
I
at
know.
but
Yellow
you look
Flash has like seized on that, like so, like for his trolling campaign on
yep.
that.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
like that, you hit it on the head. Miles Morales needs his own identity because no matter what, he will always be in Peter's shadow until they stop trying to make him be a Spider-Man. He won't be. He will never be the Spider-Man.
Exactly. Like, look at She-Hulk. Like, she's her own character. Like, she had like enough of her own identity. Like, she's actually like smarter in her form than Hulk is. I actually like She-Hulk better than regular Hulk. I'm not talking about the MCU version. I didn't even watch that shit. But I'm talking about like regular She-Hulk. Like, she just seems like more of an interesting character than Hulk.
And there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with She-Hulk, because Bruce's transformation is kind of triggered by rage and anger, whereas for her, it's joy and happiness. So it's letting her be the best version of herself.
Wow. She got lucky, didn't she?
Because I guess deep down in there's the question of who are they, and Bruce is someone who's hurting on the inside, and he's always like repressing back all this rage and frustration, and so he lashes out. Jennifer wants to be attractive. She wants all that stuff, but she's just kind of always been held back by who she actually was. So there's that desire with her to be the hot, sexy, hero who will jump rope naked on a comic book for the audience.
Oh, that is awesome. Oh man. Yeah, that is nice. Oh,
And they did it, by the way, in late '80s, early '90s.
I believe it. It was only like until it was only like till like 2015 that people started demonizing sexuality, like really, like
and
sex in media.
and still to this day, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating because there's so much that like we get with a lot of this media with a lot of media, like, oh, we're gonna have all this sex positivity stuff, and it's really just we want to celebrate gay characters, which is fine to have, but it's like they're the only ones that are allowed to have romance or show any sort of romance.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like the way they do like gay characters, like it's not really like showing like they want to show like a certain type of gay character. They're not like showing like full blown thing. Like I see like a bunch of gays on Twitter, like they're pretty based, like like a lot of them. But like these kids, like this whole like flag thing, like that it's so like yeah, even like it's sexuality for like the gay stuff, like it's oh yeah, there's also tons of like hypocrisy like going on, like people pointed out like like how like the Mortal Kombat characters have to all the females have to cover up, and the guys can have their like man titties out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so frustrating for a lot of reasons.
I think it's very, very frustrating as someone who likes anime and doesn't see anything wrong with like sexualizing any like well, I mean adult character. Like, it's been very, very stupid, and it just seems like counterproductive to what like liberals were saying like just like in the 2000s. Like, they loved sex. They loved sexualizing stuff. Like that
And
was everything. And then
oh,
like then it just suddenly became evil once you had these Anita people coming, and suddenly it's like like people have to like they became like almost like like the 80s like Christians, like it's
and it gets so much worse because hang on, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Um, Sorry, give me a second to try to remember where I was trying to go. No, I lost it. Uh, the sexy characters. Oh, that's what it was. There we go. It's so ridiculous because especially when you see like these same people that will like complain about adult looking characters say she's drawn like a child.
Yeah, and she's not a child.
No,
You
like
know, it's so funny. Like I know that Mizuki-chan is like 18, like in story, and they think she's a kid.
yeah, and it gets worse because there'll be women who have that body who are just they're small. They tend to have a more small petite body, and they aren't they aren't uh, built big, but they're adults. Then and here's people like saying you must be a pedophile if you have an attract. Basically, if you're attracted to a woman.
I mean, the girl I took to the dance in middle school had like, absurdly big breasts for her age. Like, so yeah, you're right. I'm just like remembering that now.
Yep, and you just there's no pleasing them. They want to be able to just hate. It's a cult, and you have people who want to ultimately tell you to step in line or throw every istphobe at you because you
Yeah,
don't just get one, you get them all like it's a mantra, like it's a chant.
yeah,
Racist,
it's not
sexist,
about principle.
homophobic.
Yeah, it's not about principle with these people. Like we
No.
find without like inconsistence, like they are. It's about compliance. It's all about compliance and fitting in to whatever like they're told they need to fit in, and that can switch on a dime, like we saw with like just even like like the whole Joe Biden thing. Like it's it just like on a dime, like people just like Joe who.
Oh God, that has been one of the this has been one of the strangest presidencies
Yep.
because it's we're there's been so much gaslighting, so much lying by the media that we're supposed to just act like never happened.
Yeah, now I try not to get too political. Like, I'm kind of breaking some rules right now,
No,
but yeah, like,
I
we're
get
in
it.
weird
It's
times. I'm not gonna lie. We are in some pretty strange times right now. And it is weird. Like let's just call a spade a spade. It is very weird.
and so for the most part, I've been kind of trying to steer away from politics more because it's so easy for it to be all consuming. We've seen that with media for the last basically decade, how
Oh yeah,
everything became
definitely.
wrapped around the politics of the day. And the worst part is so much of that media, so much of everything that's come along has been like tainted by it. Like you have to go back to D&D for a second. The Radiant Citadel setting is basically a response to the Trump immigration stuff.
That whole setting.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much. Between to that to all of the criticisms of policing, because in the setting, the city police only carry shields because weapon bad.
Wow.
It is
Ugh.
it was this like communist utopia where all the races can come together, but then we also have the ability to have them all be segregated. It's
Yeah.
it is a terrible book. I I bought a used copy because I was gonna go like look through it and review it, and it just I was shocked to find out that this is not at all like what I was expecting. I was expecting a full setting, but we got like 15 pages of actual setting in the on the plane itself. Everything else is multiverse. We go to the little pocket dimension where all these little elements are at. I'm like, well, this is useless to me. They couldn't even give me a full setting.
Wow. So it's supposed to be a setting book and they half-assed it. It's like doesn't give you the details.
Well, in their defense, they did basically push that it was going to be a book of adventures. I guess it just didn't get. It was just so much of the discussion around it overshadowed what the actual product was. So basically, they didn't. They you could say they probably didn't market it well enough that all the talk of the day became all about what the book was.
I see. So, it didn't sell well, so like it was supposed to be like a stepping stone for something, and they just kind of dropped it because it wasn't selling.
Well, the thing is, that's actually kind of been the mo of Wizards of the Coast with D&D. We put out a setting book, or we put out a single adventure, and we move on. We did a Curse of Strahd sold incredibly well. It's I think the best selling adventure they've done. We
It's
did
like the
a
hardest. I know. I've wanted to play it. I've wanted like, I wanted like to get on a table and play that game, and it's just like in a game shop. The game shop owners never put me on a table for that to run that module. I would like to, like, the uncensored version, of course,
yeah.
but
Well,
like,
with all the fun stuff with the Romani, and really, what you probably should be looking to do then is kind of come into a little more of this online space, because there is just a big old like evergreen community of people who are out here checking out all kinds of random stuff. I've got tons and tons of books and modules and adventures of stuff that I'm basically what I'm doing is taking and filling a binder up with just odd little rules. Like, oh, I love this. I like this rule about setting up a like permanent camp and how to handle supplies with this. What about mining? Okay, well, here's a whole rule set for mining I could work in. I don't know if I'm ever going to use this one day, but I love this rules, and I'm going to add these to my collection. Hey, someone made the leprechaun a race for my beloved old school essentials. Of course, I have that.
yeah, I know, like, there are people that are kind of like taking, like, like you have OSR, but then like like for the 5e system, like, I've seen like a couple of Kickstarters, like, like for this whole like nocturnal werewolf setting. I forget what it was called, but I wanted to back that almost, but then like, I tried to ask like interest in the store, and it just wasn't there. So like I was kind of bummed about that because like, I think werewolves are cool.
Yep. Oh no, all that wear stuff is always great, and there's always going to be a demand for certain elements. So there's that challenge of trying to find the right way to market things, the right way to kind of lean into something that the audience doesn't necessarily know they want yet. And I'm certainly not going to sit here and act like I know what that is. Like I know what I like, and that's about as far as I can take it.
Yeah.
But
So like that's why I'm just gonna say like thank you for like that you're planning a game that like I'm looking forward to that.
and I guess that there is something there for me to do, in that I have to step up more now. And now that I've got couple people interested, I have to basically set the table up and tell people, hey, look, I want to run on Wednesdays. Can we do this like Wednesday evenings? Yeah, and then whoever wants to show up, you're free to come on out and play. We'll we'll sit down. We'll kind of run you through things. If you're coming from a, you know, I'm not running fifth edition. I'm running something a little bit different. That's I got no problem helping people get into. I've got a couple of friends, like guys like T-shirted Historian and Grim Jim, who they do a Sunday game, and that was kind of a little bit of reminder for me to like maybe get around to playing some of these games on my shelf, because there's so much. Like for example, there's an RPG that has been getting a little bit of a buzz in sort of my little circles called Fabula Ultima, which is basically a JRPG inspired role playing game inspired by games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy, of course.
Yeah, Ultima, I figured. Yeah,
And
I'm a big Final Fantasy guy. Like, yeah, if you can't tell, like my avatar is based off my 14 character.
nice. So have you had a chance to finish up the new expansion yet?
Oh no, I'm very far behind in 14. Still on Stormblood. But yeah, I know like
Oh,
people saying the new expansion's kind of boring and like and but I do know that like I know that once I get through
Stormblood.
Stormblood, like the next two expansions are like supposed to be like super good. Like, like heaven, like I know Heaven's Word was like probably one of the best like things I've ever like experienced. Like that was so fucking cool. The dungeons, the bosses, the story, the characters, and uh, a smile always better suits a hero.
Oh, that
Oh my
freaking
god,
line.
that moment was it just you don't see it coming. You don't see it coming.
Have you heard that they've basically gone and done one of the raids, the ultimate raids is supposed to be a what if, where what if he survives.
Really.
So you do have that to look forward to, I believe, in Endwalker.
Ah, I'm wondering how that works, like how they like go back in time or something. That like it's an Elseworld type of dungeon.
Admittedly, I haven't had a chance to quite get to it yet, but it's your end your end your end game rating content.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, yeah.
Have you
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a House the Font,
Archifant, yeah. That was his name.
and it the characters become so beloved for Final Fantasy in general to the point that the FF14 Fan Fest always seem to have a memorial to him that the fans will come and just give little offerings to.
Yeah. I know like the guy who plays Harshavant's father, like who also voices Clive's uncle in 16, like his voice actor died. Like and I know like I've heard something that people are like give offerings to the house. Like, the house that you start out in the beginning of Heaven's Word, where
Here, let me
Harshavant's family lives. That house. Like they pay tribute to the voice actor.
here. Well, I'll show you what I mean because this is from like 2018, but uh, yeah, there's a there's this photo, and people have been.
Oh yeah, the fan from Oh yeah, I forgot about the conventions. Yeah. Oh man, that I would have been so cool to like go to one. Like they're mostly all in Vegas, right?
They seem to do them around, but it's basically going to be a big city, and the closest one for me would be Chicago, which no, I'm not going back to Chicago anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, I once was enough.
The only time I've ever been to Chicago was like, when I had to I don't know, get on another plane.
You
Yeah,
the
I almost I did think about like, when I was like, with vacation, like I thought about like maybe going to the fan expo this year, but I'm also like just going to Comic-Con and that's probably going to be enough.
which Comic Con are you going to?
New York on the Friday.
Okay,
So I actually nabbed tickets for a day that isn't Sunday. I've only ever been to Comic-Con twice and they were always on the Sunday.
yeah,
So
it's
like
that's
I'm at
in the
gonna
big
be
city that could
cool.
be a challenge.
Oh, I know, but I know New York. I'm from Jersey, so I know New York City.
See, so I'm out in Michigan, and I tend to go to some of the smaller ones, the local ones, where it's like, yeah, we're basically in the back of the VFW.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're good little conventions, especially if they can get like the local hockey arena.
But yeah, I like small conventions. I actually do like small conventions. Like, my brony, okay, well, it wasn't a small convention and stuff, but yeah, like, well, I mean, like, it was like it's not like, the brony conventions in Baltimore were ever like, super big as Comic-Con. Like, it still felt like more manageable than like other things. So I do like smaller conventions. Like, it's just easier to get things like, there's space to
Navigate.
move. Yeah, like
Yeah, it's a bit of a different game going from like the smaller convention to the bigger ones because you have that whole advantage of being able to move around, being able to just talk with and actually hear people. And plus, when there's less people, the dealers are more willing to cut you a deal because they have fewer people to buy and sell from to sell to. So they want to make some sales.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I nabbed last time I went to a convention. I did well, I've been collecting a lot of like older games now, like, especially for the channel.
Oh, what's your preferred system?
Well, on my preferred system, like, so I have my current setup is I have my PC, I have my PS5, which also has backwards compatibility with PS4, and I have a Xbox One, like one because my other one, like the power button stopped working, so I had to like get my cloud save onto a new one. So like the Xbox, which has the 360 backwards compatibility, I have the Nintendo Switch, and in addition to that, I have a Nintendo Wii hooked up, and I've been using it as a GameCube and a Wii,
My
and
friend, you've
that's
you've
really
got to
all
go
the
further
console.
back.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, PS1. That's why I have the PlayStation 2. Ooh, those look good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this
I thing
this
is,
is
I was an N64 kid, so I missed out on JRPGs late. I'm more appreciative. Oh my God, that is a. I saw that like I was in a store recently and I saw it. It was going for so much. Oh man, nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I got
so.
the collection. I'm gonna like at some point I'm gonna do all the Metal Gear games. I'll probably I've started a bunch of them and I've never finished. But so I'm gonna try and like complete Snake Eater at some point because Snake Eater's just like really fun. Love the theme song.
And those games are especially fun for like when you're sick. Well, rather, I should say, oftentimes what I'll do is if I'm sick, I'm laying in bed, I'm not going to work today, I'm taking the day off. I called in. What I always do is I will go throw on just like the Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, basically the gameplay movie. Basically, there's a guy who's gone and cut the entire game into just one long motion picture, and it's
Oh, I
great
know.
because you'll kind of come in, you're like, you start watching it, and he's like, go, swimming out to the submarine, and then you start watching for a while, and then just before I know it, you pass back out. When you come back in, watching a you're watching a ninja fighting a giant robot. You're like, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. And Psycho Mantis.
Wait, is Psycho Mantis and Snake Eater?
Just the point was, just you wind up with all kinds of random stuff. Where like Revolver Ocelot would be in it.
Yeah, yeah, true. Like I've gotten that far, like where you see the young version of them.
The point is they get it kind of all over the place. So you always kind of, if you're like zoning in and out of consciousness, it's like a totally different movie at some point.
Yeah, I know. Like the big joke. I know. Kojima. Like people have been talking about how cutscene heavy he is. Like especially I hated Death Stranding. I don't think it's like I think it's terrible. Like like all you do is walk.
Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus.
The fetus game.
Look, if I
Reverse black gunk and climbing and collect.
if I were to watch a movie about delivering packages, I would watch Amazon delivery training videos.
Yeah, I will not be getting that sequel.
No, it's just silly. So let me ask you, uh, what have you been watching for anime lately?
Oh, for anime? Well, I've been let's see, like I've been watching Sonic X. I got the Blu-ray, so like I'm watching that because I've actually never
Discotheque.
seen it because I've always heard it was censored. So I never bothered. And so like now I have the uncensored version and I'm enjoying it. Though someone spoiled to me like something that happens in one of the later seasons. I also I've been like, as far as like my legal watching, like because I don't do Crunchy, I'll watch like Inuyasha on Netflix sometimes. I'll I was watching Suicide Squad Isekai on Max, but for the stuff like I can't get, like I've been watching. I got to go back to watch Remonster.
Oh
I've been watching
yes.
that. I think that it's cool because like it's non-human reincarnation. I think that's really cool. And yeah, and he's not that much of a dick like a lot of other isekai protagonists like Ainz are.
Well, the thing, part of the reason why I like Remonster so much is because going back to that the D&D, the tabletop stuff, there's always that kind of idea, that urge to like have a game about trying to build a village, and now that the characters, they're learning new skills, they're leveling up, they're ranking up, they're getting new job promotions. it it scratched the right itches for me as a series. In fact, I'm reading through the manga right now. I think I'm on volume 9 or 10.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I should get the manga. I should. Oh man, I'm so backlogged with manga though. I it's it's like I finished Naruto and then like I never like I can't seem to finish anything else.
Oh, we'll talk One Piece.
Oh God, no. Yeah, like I'm not starting One Piece. I know like it's like everyone talks and I know like Brandon's been catching up and like, it's like oh my God, like the Netflix show was enough.
Yes.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Nice. Yeah.
Just
It's
a
amazing.
little
Like,
fan.
I remember like, watching like the 4 Kids dub like in between Naruto episodes and thinking the show was so cringe and now like seeing it become this beloved thing. It's been kind of like, it's
Well,
just, I had a bad first impression. I had a
and
bad first impression.
a lot of that is because Four Kids was effectively forced to pick it up. Because One Piece was part of a larger package deal, and so they wanted a few other shows. They wanted like Shaman King, and trying to remember what else Four Kids had done. But basically, One Piece was sort of this show that they were forced to take and forced to adapt, and it's become the biggest legacy of failure for them as a brand. Like they wanted Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, oh yeah, like their Yu-Gi-Oh was very successful for them. So they
Yep.
they had to take on One Piece in order for Yu-Gi-Oh. So like their one of their biggest successes would also led to their biggest failure.
I don't know if it was Yu-Gi-Oh specifically, but what I've always kind of heard was it was a package deal, and One Piece was just one of multiple of, I'm assuming, the Shonen Jump series that they had to take.
I see. And then it might have been Yu-Gi-Oh! It might have been like, and like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was very good for them at the time. Like, Konami had to censor a bunch of the cards for them,
Yep.
for consistency. One of my favorite cards, Axe of Despair, had its face censored. It's a very good card. Do you know what Axe of Despair does?
Was that like pay 1,000 life points to draw force them to
Like
sacrifice?
I think you pay 1,000 life points to give a monster 1,000 attack points.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I,
been
I
so
use
long
that
since
to
I've.
power up my stuff all the time. It's very good. All you need is a good like 4 level monster with good attack, and then you just Axe of Despair. You can turn the tide. Or at
Yep.
least in old Yu-Gi-Oh! It could. It's a totally new game now. Like I played Master Duel and it was a nightmare.
Like I basically was out around the time they introduced the 5D stuff, like
Yeah,
with the synchro summoning. I'm like, yeah, I get this where levels matter, but then like I kind of moved on to playing Magic,
yeah.
and I just kind of didn't look back. And but when I did go look at like Master Link, I'm like, what's all this like pendulum summoning and
Oh
all
yeah,
these?
the pendulum shit. I figured it out. I did do some tutorials and figured it out, but it is convoluted as hell.
Ooh, Riot Kitty, great choice with Kaguya because that has like one of the best openings. But yeah, no,
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, those are the animes I've been watching as of late.
right now it's been just a lot of One Piece for me because here in about a week I'll be sitting down to do some more discussion with Brandon, and we're getting to one of the big highlights of the series. One of like the the
The big
one,
arcs.
one of the big arcs, one of the big arcs that has frankly some of the heaviest emotional impact. Like I'm laying in bed last night watching this. I'm like tears like coming down my face. I'm like, no, oh, it's sad. I'm like, I can't stop watching this. I
Well,
know I know the plot. I know what's gonna happen. I know it's gonna be sad. I keep watching.
yeah, so the big ones like for me that like really like grip me were like the end of the Frieza arc. And the biggest one, is the pain saga in Naruto is like one of the best anime arcs like I've ever like experienced. Like that was just so full of emotion. And
Jiraiya.
Kishi he was never able to top it. It was just so fucking good. The pain arc. I'm not sure if you've read Naruto.
Oh yeah, no, I was getting Shonen Jump like the physical magazine when
Oh
it
yeah, me
was.
too. That's where I read most of the pain arc was like in that from the magazine. I got it before I went to college in 2011.
Yep, oh I have a copy of the first issue of that around here somewhere.
Like the first like Shonen Jump for the
Like
United States.
December of 2003.
Wow. Nice. Nice. I,
And
I I don't know. I think mine probably got thrown out. But
oh,
it was cool. I was doing that, because I wanted to keep up to avoid the spoilers. The scanlators were always ahead.
yep, it just and the thing was, it just got to a point where you're like, well, I gotta wait a whole month, but I know the manga's coming out like basically 3 to 4 chapters a month. I'm behind here, but I could be playing catch up. And then before you know it, you're just like, hey, I'm just gonna just kind of read all the scans.
Yeah, like back then I tried to be a very good boy. I tried not to do any like things, though I did get I did pirate a bunch of anime, so on so but like, I'd always avoid like the scans and like just like get it officially, like, just because like, that was my mindset back then.
Well,
Things are a little different now since, like, seeing how like corrupt things are in some areas of business.
well,
And especially like with these rampant these people that have no love for any of the source material now and the activism. So like if there's any of that shit going on, like, I definitely would prefer like a scanlation over some watered down version of someone else's story.
well, the thing is, a lot of the piracy is the sign of that value. That there are people who want it. They want it enough that they are willing to take it. They are willing to do what they can to get it. I mean, yeah, they gotta try and crack down on that because that's good for their business for them to be able to keep it going. But there's a reason why people don't counterfeit nickels.
I know people would pirate less if they just like if they didn't do any like the stuff they did with Dragon Maid. Like, if they didn't do any of that shit, like, like there wouldn't be like so much of a problem. But like, yeah, so
Well,
like,
the thing is, they created a problem. They created a new problem that they kind of had the benefit of the assumption that we can translate it and say whatever we want it to say because they can't speak the language, and because of that barrier of that language barrier, they were able to get away with it for a time until it became such a big problem that the Japanese took notice and said, let's get some technology on this to fix the problem.
you're talking about AI, right?
Oh yeah, now the thing is, I would prefer to have someone there working on it who's doing the translation, doing the localizing, who's able to do what's best for the material to get it to the audience. But the problem is the people that are there have proven themselves unable to be trusted, and well, technology is going to replace you.
Yeah, that's why, like, all the people like, screaming like about AI and stuff. Like, oh, it's the like anime Satan Katrina. Like, she's like, "Oh my God, AI! Like, come on, help us! Like, I know I was insulting you guys like 2 weeks ago, but help me, my job.
No,
We don't want you to have this job, lady. We want you to leave. Stop taking jobs on ecchi anime if you hate ecchi stuff." That's the thing. Like, she takes jobs for things she hates just so she can censor it. She'll deliberately take gigs for like, oh,
thank
she's like, I know, like, like when people think of bad localizers, they think of Katrina.
yeah, she's the worst. And the thing is, she took delight in destroying this stuff. Thank God she never got onto a series like gushing about magical girls. And it goes right back to all the frankly sex negative, like which is the most baffling thing. These are the people that you would think should be the most supportive of the sexuality because you would think that they were around for the last 10-15 years with sort of the right wing was very anti
Yeah,
you know anti
like
the
just
right wing. Yes.
promiscuity, like, like they want things like very like, yeah, and it was like, and now like, things are a little bit different now, and like now like, I mean, I consider myself like center right politically, and I'm also like religious, but like, I like, I'm not very like prudish and stuff. So like, I like my sexy a lot. And so like I want my
Yep.
sexy, and like the fact that these people keep trying to take it away, it just makes me mad.
It's like, look, I'm a simple man. I want some busty elves. I want to be able to put little I want to put the my anime waifu stickers in my dice tray, and I want to be able to tell stories where orcs aren't a stand-in for some other race. Goblins aren't the Jews. Goblins, lizard men aren't Latinos.
Well,
And it's been across the board. There has been nothing that hasn't been devastated.
Oh
But
yeah,
it
no,
in
it's societal cancer. It's societal cancer. Like when Elon like says like a bunch of the stuff he's been saying lately, he's absolutely right that it's like a virus when he compares it to a virus.
and
But you
you
know,
know
it's
the
yeah.
the funny thing
Go
is
ahead.
and if the funny thing is at the same time there is almost a net benefit to a lot of this. And I should say more of it. There is a silver lining to the destruction of all the pop culture is that it's forced us to get outside of the comfortable bubble of, oh, I'm just going to watch Star Wars and I'm just only going to read Star Wars. Well, yeah, if I had only stayed there, I wouldn't have gone out and checked out Babylon 5. I wouldn't have started watching Space 1999. You know, I wouldn't be. I would only be playing D&D 5e. I wouldn't have gone out and picked up the GI Joe role playing game.
Yeah, definitely. I've been I've found like different anime and stuff, but the Star Wars replacement is like, I was really starving for it. Like, I was hoping like the new Rebel Moon would be like that replacement, and a lot of people don't like it. I mean, and it's no replacement for what Star Wars was. I mean, I don't hate the movies, but like I don't like everyone else does, but like it's just it's not Star Wars. I mean, like maybe like if they keep working on it, but I'm not sure how much. Like, I mean, like it's like that remains to be seen. It's like it's too much of in its infancy. It's not Star Wars. It's like it's very hard. Like Star Wars was everything to me. Like I love like that was like it was like Naruto and Star Wars. That was my thing for the
Yep.
longest time was Naruto and Star Wars, like Episode 3, like like I know every line from that movie. Like I watched all the movies multiple times, like, and yeah, it was like, and then like I was disappointed that The Force Awakens was a rehash and shot on the prequels. I was disappointed about that. And then like The Last Jedi then shat on the original trilogy with Luke. And so now, like, all of Star Wars was upended. And, like, how do they respond? They try and smear the fans.
And the thing is, that is kind of the ultimate betrayal that has come along, because that is of everything else that's happened. That is like the central hurt that's hit us all as these nerds out here, that we've all kind of come together and we've kind of learned to sort of, by doing this, like, we're hanging out, kind of finding these new bits of entertainment to help cope with that loss.
Yep.
It is the one that's never going to go away. And anyone who goes to work on Star Wars who thinks they're going to own the chuds needs to realize,
The Chuds are
we
gone.
well, no, we're still around. We're never going to go away. We're going to always complain. We're always going to be there to call them out. Yeah, not watch it.
Yeah. Like I shut on the Acolyte without watching a single like bit of it. All I did was watch Drinker's review of a few episodes. That's it. Like, it's all wrong. Like, like the whole like the space which I actually have heard some juicy rumors that Acolyte might get the Willow treatment because they're trying to scrub the toy line.
Yep, because the merchandise isn't on the Disney shop. Uh,
Oh my god, the Acolyte like defenders are going to be so fucking pissed. Oh, so much for the power of one, huh, nerds?
the power of one, the power of
The
two,
power of
the
two,
power of
the power of
bankruptcy.
man.
Yep.
Yep, they pulled
Oh,
the merch, or they pulled the merch. I saw it a little bit a headline about it. Like, yeah, so like and now all the Acolyte fans are like panicking.
yep. They thought they would be able to basically psyop and basically take advantage of social media to keep the facade up, but largely sites like Twitter and YouTube have shown that no, their shit stinks.
Yeah. It and yeah, it's funny, and like it'd be even greater if like if the whole thing does get removed and the toy line like scrubbed, that it gets completely decanonized, and especially if that guy is supposed to be Darth Plagueis, that means they can't do anything Darth Plagueis like related. Which who should have been the fucking main villain of the sequel trilogy. Like he should have been fucking Snoke.
Yep.
Like it baffles me, like, that everything that went wrong with those movies. Like, I even had a better thing about how Episode 9 could have worked. Like, when I first saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be Palpatine's ghost haunting the Death Star, and I thought, oh, that could be kind of fun. No, no, it's just Palpatine. He's just back. Somehow he returned. In fact,
Yep.
I have. Oh, sorry. Uh. Oh. Oh.
What you got?
Yeah. I had something. Um. Oh, where is my? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Sorry.
We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah. I had that.
Should have played the Fortnite.
Oh yeah. You didn't. You had to play Fortnite. Oh man. Oh man. It's so. And, like you have to read the novelization to find out like the father was a clone too, and that like Palpatine never actually had sex. It's like it's like, why can't
Oh,
you tell me this stuff in the movies?
and that does bring up a good question. What are they going to do with all of the High Republic tie-ins, the comics, and all that stuff? They're just going to basically, they're just quietly let them stay out there, but they're never going to reprint those, is what I'm betting.
Oh yeah, like it doesn't sell. Like, the market's like dried up. That's what happens when you tell like the biggest fans that they're assholes. Like Star Wars theory, like, God bless him, like, for sticking with like everything. Like, I mean, like they got me to fucking hate the thing I love. Like, like the whole Gina Carano thing, like was like kind of like the final nail in the coffin. That and fucking Boba Fett, the Boba Fett show being so fucking awful when it could have and it wasn't even the show they advertised when they first teased it. Like, that was meddled with. I think Boba Fett was absolutely meddled with. Like it was supposed to be a gritty gangster show, like they promised.
Well, the thing is, like, if they wanted to go do the crime lord thing with Boba Fett, that's something that you could do that in the cards. I think it's a story that would have worked better with as a novel. But the thing is, and I think this is the ultimate failing of the Book of Boba Fett. Forget all the Power Ranger Vespas, forget all the other stuff. Rancor's gonna do stuff now. No, put all that aside. The biggest mistake they made was not giving the audience one season of Boba Fett as a bounty hunter. That's what the character is best known as. If you did that for a season, give us like 4 or 5 episodes of that, and then he decides by the end of that, I need to change something. Something along those lines. Give us a little anthology season of that, and then maybe something happens where he realizes, well, this really isn't working out, and I really need to find some people who I can trust.
I guess like they were worried that it would be too much like the Mandalorian, but they
But
ruined his character.
the problem with that though is the Mandalorian really wasn't a bounty hunter. He was it for like a minute, then he went dad mode.
Yeah, it just like Disney's like they didn't have the balls to really like get into like a villain protagonist.
Right.
They really just did not have the balls to like to do gritty, which is amazing that Deadpool and Wolverine even got made.
And the thing is like Boba Fett's a $1 billion character. Like in any other, if anyone else had the access to the character and they were able to do a bounty hunter show, it could be just okay. It
Oh,
would have
wait.
sold a shit ton of merchandise. The problem is they keep making these characters stand out and make them just different from what they are. I don't like the look of Wolfie in the Deadpool movie.
I just realized something, man. So, do you know about um like there was a Star Wars Bounty Hunters comic that was like part of like this Marvel Star Wars comics, like like that
Yeah.
line, Doctor Afra. Well, so like so there was another like lesbian character who was like in this thing, and so like it had like big bounty hunters. It had some guy from some cyborg from the expanded universe. It
Yep.
had Bozak, and it had Boba Fett. And so apparently that lesbian character, I didn't read up to that part, but apparently she gets shot in the back by Boba Fett. And people were reeing that Boba Fett would just kill like a black lesbian character. Like, he's Boba Fett. Why? And she's in the way. Of course he'd kill her.
But no,
He didn't care.
That's the problem, though. The people that are complaining are cultist.
Yeah, absolutely. They only care about representation for representation's sake. They don't care about characters. They don't care about story. They just care about ideology. That's it.
I've been calling it the cause. What are they fighting for? The cause. Well, what is the cause? Depends day to day. It's just we're progressives. We're fighting for the cause. Why? Because.
Yeah, they just want to feel good about themselves, but it's a fake goodness. It's not real goodness. It's a shallow fake goodness that
Yep.
they just tell themselves they're good and so they're good. That's not how good works. Like,
And
you have to actually like try to be good. You have to actually like, and they expect everyone else to live by their stupid like standards, like and then like if you don't, like there's no forgiveness. It's awful. Like
well, the thing is,
it's it's like you said, it's brought us all together though.
Yeah.
It has brought us all together.
And you got to remember with these activist types, the cultist, for them, it's all about what's ever popular in the moment. Who among them are still talk about the Eternals? Nobody. That it's gone. That's forgotten. None of them care about the Black Widow stuff anymore. That's all in the past. That's not the current thing. It's not trendy. They're only chasing after things that are popular in the moment. Once it's gone, they don't give a shit about it. Did they? I'll be generous. Let's say some went out and bought some Black Widow comics, or they maybe went out and bought some merchandise or something they could put on a shelf and show that they're a big nerd. How much of that stuff's been just chucked into the waste bin now from like 3 years ago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those Dr. Afra comics that they were supporting, quote unquote supporting.
Yeah, the funny thing is she actually started out as a good character, like before they just did all that shit with her.
Yeah, no, I like the character at first, where she's kind of this, where she was kind of there to complement the sort of evil R2 and the evil C3PO, BT1 and
she was
0.
kind of flirty with Vader, which was kind of weird.
Where she basically begged him, like, look, you're Darth Vader. You could basically crush me with your pinky. All I ask is that when the time comes, you make my death quick and merciless. And he's like, I'm not promising you shit, bitch.
Yeah, like the relationship between the two was really cool at first. And then like I saw like they had him like Vader like on his knees and she's just like standing there on Hoth or some shit. Like I can only imagine how bad the writing got. Like, like you said, comics are expensive. I didn't keep up. It's hard to collect all those issues for all that story. So, like, I didn't get to really see, like, what Afra became. But, like, yeah, it started out pretty cool. Like, the whole thing with Geonosis. Oh, that was the other thing that really pissed me off with Disney. I noticed, like, the whole sterilization of Geonosis was just like their way of like shitting on the prequels by just eliminating a prequel race from existence.
There was some fun stuff along the way. Like they were like those Vader comics, like that like 25 issue run of the first series. I like that. That was one I collected. I was having a lot of fun with. There was a they had basically put in this like ancient specter of a Sith artist who was going using the Force to go do more dark and depraved things to tap into the Force because it was what brought him passion.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the whole Geonosis thing. Like, I'm just mad that they like, they tried to get rid of the Geonosians. I know the thing where he fought the Queen was cool, but like, I feel like, like Disney was like really catering to the red letter crowd like early on. And like it's all over the Force Awakens. And then their own stuff started failing. And now like the prequels are now cool. It's and now like they market them a lot. But I remember I haven't forgotten how they treated us. They
I
us like people who defended the prequels. I still remember.
So I've got one prediction that I'm going to give you that I don't know if anyone has made mention of this yet, but this is my theory. I think that within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see an attempt made to try to pander to Star Wars fans by leaning into the Darth Jar Jar theory.
You really think so?
I think Lucasfilm is desperate enough that they'll put out a comic or something, or they'll try to float it as an idea to see if fans will bite, because that has been one of the longest little kind of nods and jokes of theories that have been around that right now they have nothing else to go on.
Well,
I think it's
I'm
a possibility.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there's a new Lego Star Wars special with a certain Gungan donning some robes.
They're actually doing it.
Yeah, Lego Star Wars. It's a Lego Star Wars special. They're doing. Oh, and that's not all. They're also doing another person from the sequel trilogy. One that a Mr. Ethan Van Sciver called a potato. Yes, Darth Rose Tico.
Really?
Yes, Darth Jar Jar and Darth Rose Tico are like going to take over the galaxy in this Lego Star Wars special, which actually sounds hilarious. And they got Mohammed Best back as the voice of Jar Jar.
Huh.
Oh yeah, you're looking at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the Star Wars like.
So yeah, you called it. You called it. You called it.
Yeah, they got nothing at this point outside of like try to like what Gary's been, Nerd Roddick's been saying to go and redo redo the original. And yeah, just to kind of get back to that idea of we're all coming together as sort of a therapy for ourselves. It's been one of the most fascinating things, like to get us all coming together, like sharing this love of all these shows and kind of to find some other stuff to keep putting that passion into. Yeah. But no, that was great. You with like Remonster, so Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney to get us all like the prequels. That's probably not the worst theory.
Oh, I do know there were people that hated the prequels that now are saying, "Wait a minute, this really wasn't that bad."
We don't know how good we
like
had it.
You never know how good you got it till it's gone. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like, The Last Jedi, like, really is what kicked off Geeks and Gamers, and that kicked off a bunch of other channels. Like, I was like, I was glued to like the YouTube back then.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching all of them. And
Same.
now I'm here doing my own thing, and it's been a blast.
And in a way, again, just to go back to that idea of the silver lining, it's allowed us to find new people to come together with, to bond and share just these other little side passions.
Yeah.
So, we could sit here and just, continue to let ourselves be wholly consumed by what did they do to our Star Wars? Which, I mean, a little bit. There's a satisfaction kind of making fun of this thing, because there is still that passion and
Well,
there's that love there that has been betrayed.
yeah, I mean, I still have like I actually just bought a from the well, I was collecting retro games. The guy I saw, he also had some B1 battle droids that I just scooped up. So like, yeah, you're not wrong. Like the love's still there. It's just like, it's the only thing is like, I knew Disney wasn't going to get that money. So like I got it.
They've
And it
they've gone and given us a chance to, in reaching out to others, we found some other things to help share with one another.
Yep.
I mean, how many people how many people throughout all this space probably said they're never going to watch anime, and now that's like some of the best stuff coming out.
Yeah, like, part of like the reason anime is blown up is because like everything else sucked, you know? That's kind of like why like and now like, all these corporations are trying to figure out why. Why is anime like what is it about anime and they're trying to crack this code and it's just because the secret to anime, they're just focused on the story and the characters. That's all you never needed to do was just tell a good fucking story and be passionate about it and not think about like, the underlying message or how you want to affect like other people or like
Don't forget goblins and elves; those are also pretty big in it
yeah.
too.
Yeah, throw some goblins, throw some elves.
Yep, and
Uh
make a sexy waifu. Make me want to buy a statue, because I tell you what, I'm looking at a statue of Nami and Robin. I've got one of Uzaki's mom over there in a bikini. I've got money I'm willing to spend, and they don't take my money. I'll go find somewhere else to spend it.
yep. Yep. And I've been finding stuff, you know. Uh, it's good that I like got into anime in high school before everything like went to crap, and that I've always been like big on gaming, and so I do think like I'll talk a little bit about like I try and talk about things like everyone else is interested in like like my guests but like I'm going to talk about like some of the things I normally talk about like which is like so like this whole Gamergate 2 thing, it's just like everyone's going crazy about like the sweet babies and localization
Yep.
and like wanting certain companies like Square Enix and Capcom to or Ubisoft to fail. I have like I'm so I right now from my take on the situation is that Capcom is like fully like hasn't had the full ramifications of like ESG and DEI yeah, whereas Square Enix has already started to like feel the blows and they're kind of like they got a good game coming out. They have you heard of Visions of Mana?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was. It's been on my radar a little bit. I think I've got it wish listed on Steam.
Yeah. So that is coming out. I have a physical copy pre-ordered at my local GameStop. I'm going to be picking it up. It honestly, like, I've never really been a big fan of the Mana series, mostly because, like, I there's not that many games in it, but
Yep.
like, and it's like, it used to be Final Fantasy. It's its own thing now, but like, so I'm always like Final Fantasy. But honestly, like the art style and the characters, they all look fucking great. And so like I'm really, really excited like about this game. Like there's And even like the director said, like, he doesn't feel like he needs to like change anything to appeal to any like new audience. That he said something like that. There's a Bounding article about it. So I'm really excited for that game. I actually beat Final Fantasy Adventure on the channel recently to get myself ready for it.
Good, good. That's what I really should go back and play. But again, I'm still like slowly kind of plucking at FF14. That like
Yeah.
once I can kind of get caught up with the story, and kind of get that finished up, then I feel like I can start to kind of spread out a bit more, and maybe go play some of the other stuff that's been building up, like the upcoming Gundam Breaker 4.
Oh yeah, like so I know like all the mecha fans are gonna be very excited for that new Gundam game. Yeah. Like, I
Well,
told you a little bit when I was on your show, like about my experience with Gundam. Like, it kind of like passed me by.
yep.
Never really like got, but like it's amazing, like, seeing how many people like are into Gundam and that, like, oh man. I'm just thinking about the whole Matt Walsh thing with Gundam. Like, with the statue. No, with the where they actually built one, and he's like he couldn't see how beautiful that is culturally, that they actually got like something so close to an actual working Gundam to move. He can't even see the beauty in that. And he's like the polar opposite. He's like like he's the other side of SJWism.
Yeah.
Like he's like, and I'm
Matt
and
Walsh.
like people like say like.
Matt Walsh thinks the town in Footloose is too wild and crazy.
Footloose. Isn't that's so fucking kosher? I mean, I've seen the play.
Yeah, same. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the no dancing, none of this culture stuff. It's like that's basically Matt Walsh. He like like.
I know. Is it true he's in his 30s? He does not look 30.
No way. No way.
I'm gonna look it up too.
38.
Okay, late 30s. Okay, so yeah, that's only like
He's 38
6
going on
years younger
54.
than me. That's still 6 years young. That's just 6 years older than me. So like that's crazy. How do you get like that?
Look.
He
He
must
had
have had
he
such a
had that
miserable
beard surgically
childhood.
welded onto his face, and he decided that like a fake beard and flannels is going to be his entire personality. Like, I'm pretty sure the man like eats coffee beans because it's the only way he can get it. He can get a strong enough like a bit of excitement. And even if he doesn't like get the Gundam thing, the fact is, if anything else, it's marketing for the toys, for the model kits, because that was built by the Gunpla factory. It was there to sell kits.
I see. So like it was a marketing thing. I thought it was just because like Japan like loved Gundam so much.
I mean, they do, to the point that I believe there are Gundam like sewer covers.
Yeah, it's kind of like how like here in the United States there's like a memorial to Captain Kirk.
Yep.
Oh, good night, Riot Kitty.
Yep.
See
Good.
ya. Oh. Yeah, so we'll go for another 30 minutes.
That's
Yeah, let's get to the 2 hour mark. But yeah, so we got it's been yeah, I agree, like some of the stuff that we're not happy, we might not be happy about, like some of our favorite stuff getting like vandalized, but like and some of them like Star Wars possibly beyond repair, but like it did like bring a lot of us together, and it jump started a lot of voices, so like it's not like all bad, I guess. Like that is a good silver lining to look at it. And then we are like we're all trying to expand our geeky interests in
Yep.
science fiction and fantasy. We're all like trying to just have fun, and while the rest of the world rees.
And that's been, like I said, ultimately that's been a little bit of the challenge, is trying to keep finding that silver lining to be able to keep going forward throughout
Yeah,
everything
I
that's been going
refuse
on.
to give up. I refuse to take like, there's so many like people like Raging Golden Eagle who've just like given up. Like, they've kind of like taken like this huge black pill, and they just think everything sucks. And I'm still trying to I still find fun things to do. I still
Well,
find fun franchises every now and then. It's been hard to find the ones I lost to replace them, but like maybe nothing ever will. But like, I'm still finding new things to like.
well, the thing is with guys like with Raging Golden Eagle, he's someone who's chosen to step up and help fill that void. Yeah, he might be blackpilling a lot of like the mainstream corporate entertainment, but he's helping fill that. But he's helping to fill that by creating his comics.
I know, like he's how I found out about um that one comic. I'm I'm s- I'm trying to not branded, not it's something like that one girl, that Asian girl that made that comic. Like she used to be mainstream. He kind of, it's like a Berserk homage. I'm not sure if you know. It's an indie comic. He had that lady on, and that's how I found out about it.
I'm not sure. I'm
Uh,
not sure. I do know it, but I could probably find it by checking out his back
yeah,
catalog.
I literally have that second issue like on my desk at home. I'm just like I'm not at home though, so I. Oh, sweet, Orc, you're getting into Naruto. That's great. Ah,
The thing is, for as much like for as much of the filler as people like to complain about with One Piece, Naruto in a lot of ways is worse.
the anime.
Yeah,
Like that's why I say the Naruto manga is better than Shippuden. Like because the original Naruto anime is good. It's Shippuden that really like flooded it with filler. I couldn't even finish the anime version. I just stuck with the manga and
like
Ninja Storm 4 for
the
the
original
completion of
Shippuden,
that.
the original manga, like before it changed over to the Shippuden arc, the Shippuden stuff, like it ended like 50 it basically ended 50 episodes before the end, and then they decided to pad it out until they could get around to doing Shippuden.
Yep, that too. Like yeah, but like at least like but what was cool about some of those filler episodes is that they focused on like the other characters and they fleshed them out. And so it was cool like seeing them like they'd have like episodes focusing on the other teams and the other characters, the ones from the tuning exam that everyone liked. So it wasn't like but
So
then
so
like the Naruto the Shippuden filler is just insufferable. It's pointless flashbacks and clip show episodes.
so who was your favorite character in Naruto? Because for me, it was Shikamaru. Shikamaru was my favorite character.
Um, well, I guess my favorite character is Naruto. I like, and I guess my favorite character that isn't Naruto. I guess Pain. I really liked Pain. He was like one of the coolest villains. I I guess like I was a big Gara fan at one point just because of how fucking scary he was.
Gara was an interesting character, but the thing is, like with him, I always found it more the Rock Lee stuff to be a lot more interesting. Like because those two in a lot of ways are so connected with their introductions and Rock Lee's damage,
Yeah.
that in a lot of ways it's like I found the Rock Lee stuff like a ninja who can only use taijutsu to be more compelling, because Gaara is basically Naruto if he wasn't able to find someone who accepted him.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters like that in the series. It became kind of like a running thing that like, there's a lot of like different like mirrors to Naruto if he had coped with his being a Jinchuriki differently. And it does like make you think like, like Naruto like I honestly think like the whole like demon Jinchuriki aspect of Naruto to be like a really cool, and I guess sometimes like people don't even like really like think about it like too much. But I did like a whole video early on like comparing like like Naruto's like journey with the nine-tailed fox, comparing it to kind of like people's like fears of demons in the United States, like just like the fear and like the cope, like so yeah, like it's on the channel, you can find it. But I just thought like it was interesting even if the comparison was unintentional, like that, just like that like he basically like, and I found the resolution very well. Like, like they both learn to accept each other and then they become more powerful. Like the fox and the man.
In finding others you could place your trust in coming up with that found family message. They're able to kind of repair the trauma of their own lives by learning to find others that they can trust in,
Yeah.
which is one of those messages that we see also works so well in One Piece as well. But
Yeah.
so I keep going back to One Piece because that's kind of
But yeah, it's kind of like what you're watching right now, so it's on your
yeah.
mind. I get it. I
It's on my
completely
arm,
get it.
it's on my skin,
Well, that's
my
okay.
shirt.
I'll balance it. Like, so yeah, I've been watching Inuyasha, and I don't know. I don't think it's like super deep, but I do like how angsty the character of Inuyasha is and how defensive he is. Like, I do think the whole like
Do
the two of them, him and Kagome are in love, and like they stretch it out so much, and I do think that element is hilarious. It's
okay,
like they just put a ring on her, man.
so you're kind of similar in age to me. I'm 35. Uh,
Yeah, so I'm 32.
yep. So you remember like back then just how popular Inuyasha was.
Oh yeah, I remember back when it was popular. It was like super on Adult Swim. I missed it. I didn't like see. I didn't watch like Inuyasha. I didn't
It
really start.
was, I mean, just to have a comparison for the current series that have been out, like My Hero Academia is kind of like one of the biggest anime around right now.
Yeah,
And it was like Inuyasha was that big at the time.
I imagine so. Yeah,
Like,
I know. Like I was told like that mostly girls liked it. That's what I was always told. And of course, I saw the Robot Chicken parody, which was hilarious.
I that was one of the big series I was watching when I was kind of first getting into it. And in fact, like, I remember, being in like the AOL chat rooms and I wound up kind of making friends through Inuyasha that have gone on to be lifelong friends.
Oh, that's cool.
It's it's a series that kind of does have a little soft spot for me, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't go back there
Yeah.
because then I start to think back to like some of the cringy like the RP characters and that. I'm like, no, this is in the past. We're just gonna kind of put this away and we'll just not go back to that embarrassing like.
I know, like, there's probably like series that like do things like Inuyasha, but better and maybe like less like drawn out. It has it's a very it's while it's trying to be a serious story, it has a lot of silliness to it.
Yeah, I mean,
From my ex
it's got some
from
great characters in it. Like Moroku was always a favorite of mine.
yeah, he's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Moroku. Oh yeah, he is such a great villain. I that dude
No, no,
is
no,
like
no. Moroku,
I'm at
the
the
monk.
part where he split himself into two and he's like sending these parts of himself out against Inuyasha. That's the part I'm at. But like yeah, his introduction as a villain was like and his backstory is just it's so like it's so cool. He's like so fucking evil. It's great.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think you mean Naraku.
No, oh Naraku. Oh Moroku. Oh uh I'm not I'm trying then who's Moroku?
He was the monk with the black hole in his hand, the perverted monk.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh that guy. Yeah. Oh I guess he's all right. He's like he's the pervert character.
Yes,
Yeah, he's the one that
which is
gets
one of the one that also eternal trope that like the modern day like activists, the cultist, they hate. I
I
mean,
mean
as far as the Inuyasha villains go, like Bankotsu and the Band of Seven were some of my favorites in the series.
okay, I'm not sure if I've gotten to them yet, but yeah, like Noroku like I saw like one episode where he was basically pledging himself to an underage girl. You know, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Inuyasha that's material that like the if anyone actually like went and revisited the series, like would be panicking. Like, so good thing, like I guess the SJWs haven't found that yet, or they'd be trying to build a time machine to cancel Inuyasha.
oh, but don't worry, we're gonna be getting Ranma One Half coming back now.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So I know about that. That's this gender swap anime, and I know that's going to be like such a shitstorm with the whole trans thing, and it's like and these kids that don't know any nuance when it comes to like gender. Like Japan has this whole like they're so far ahead of these guys when it comes to gender like nonconformity and gender ambiguity. They're so far ahead of these people and like they keep trying to erase like all their terms like the
Well,
femboys and stuff.
it's, I mean, it's sort of this idea. It's got this big thing where, uh, oftentimes other languages, other cultures will have multiple words that multiple different shades of the same word. Like I think Greek maybe has like 7, 8 different words for love, and each one of those represents something completely represents a different kind of affection one can feel towards others. Like the companionship, the camaraderie between two men, brothers in arms who've fought by each other's, died by each other's side, willing to die to protect each other. There's a type of love there, but English unfortunately only has in that case like one word for it, and so it just all kind of falls into the same soup pot. And so Japan, for example, has a few different words and ideas for the matter of gender ideology, and which is so frustrating because you have all these different concepts, but then when you come to English and a lot of the activist types, they all try to use the same tool to answer everything. Like, oh no, they're all LGBT. They're all by default under the same banner, and it adheres to our definitions. It's like, no, you're talking about a completely different culture that doesn't have the same values as you inherently. So you need to step back and really assess this. Learn to look at what you're talking about before you just start putting your words and your definitions on this.
Yeah. So like, I'm not a Guilty Gear fan, but like, watching that drama with the whole Bridget thing was
Yeah.
very interesting. It's still going on. It's like
Oh,
there people are
Bridget
still
turns every now
fighting
and
about
then
it.
still.
What?
Oh, Bridget will still trend now and then just because of all that nonsense. And my understanding of what happened was basically some people got to the Guilty Gear creator and basically gave their definitions and their understanding of things to kind of nudge him just so they can win the culture war on this one battlefield.
Yeah, it seems like it blew up, and then like he just like didn't want to deal with it, and he goes, "Okay, they're trans now." Like, it's even though like it goes against like this entire like this big like story that's built into the character about like their village and how they wanted to be more masculine.
But no one couldn't. But he's pretty passable as a female, so just use his weapon.
Oh, is that it?
I'm assuming
Interesting.
so. I've never really been a big Guilty Gear person, but that's just kind of the assumption I'm making based on the character's depiction.
Yeah. So like apparently they were like gaslit by their parents to like behave like a girl because of some stupid rule in the village about like children. And so like even though so like and then like it like their whole arc is apparently about breaking out of that and kind of discovering masculinity. And now apparently that arc ends with them just accepting the gaslight.
Jeez, that's so anticlimactic.
Yeah. So that's why like that's really like with the Bridget fans like and like of course these people they don't care about the old games, they just care about like, oh, the new Guilty Gear, oh, I love Bridget, oh my god, Bridget, like what's her personality, trans. It's and like that's why like a lot of these like Bridget fans like they hate the creator of Guilty Gear now because like they see him as like caving and like he didn't back up like the old stuff, and he just like he just like he didn't want to fucking deal with like the Westerners, I guess.
Yep. Well, then
It's
then
just
we
my perspective as an outsider.
you're probably not too far off. Like basically, they try to they'll act like it's form and keep going on and on and on, try to annoy you to the point that you submit. And
Yeah.
now we get to see what happens when these same folks, the same cultists, the same acolytes, lose it over the fact that they're about to completely lose the show. Everything with the Star Wars show looks like it's about to go the same way as Willow to the Willow show.
Yeah. It's they're flipping out because the monkey game like came out, and I've seen a bunch of creators saying, "Oh my god, I hate culture war. Oh man, the culture wars are so annoying." Like, yeah, like hey, you can always block Grums if you think it's so fucking annoying. Like, they don't do it though, because like it's so funny. They're mad because they lost. They lost because like nobody like and it isn't even the culture war stuff that the reason the game is selling. It's selling because the Monkey King is awesome.
Well, yes, but also there is a portion of the audience that are willing to say this game is pushing back on the woke, and so I'm going to buy 2 copies of it just out of
Yeah.
spite.
Yeah, there's some Hogwarts legacy like effect
Yep.
going on, but like I still think it's also just the cultural importance of Journey to the West to Southeast Asia. I studied it in college. I even did a paper on it. So like I know I'm very familiar with at least the beginning portions of the legend.
Yeah,
How he acquires these items to try and obtain the powers of a god, and then how he's ultimately cursed and has to fight demons.
oh, really? Huh.
Oh, you're not familiar with Journey to the West?
No, I'm.
It's it's what inspired Goku. In fact,
Oh,
Wukong is also sometimes referred to as Goku,
I know
Son
a little bit of
Goku.
the I know a little bit of the surface bits of it. There's some elements that I know of largely through pop culture. Like, for example, there's there was the Jackie Chan Jet Li movie Forbidden Kingdom, great movie by the way.
Yeah.
As well as there was one like there was a 2013 Chinese action kung fu movie called
Oh,
Journey to the West.
there are dozens of Journey to the West adaptations and movies because it's public domain. So, like Netflix actually just did an animated one for kids.
There was also
Well, not
Sayuki.
Sayuki. I'm not. Was that a
Well,
Journey to the West adaptation?
yep, and that was kind of from that like 10 about around the time of Inuyasha that was kind of out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well, the Monkey King's like so like if you study like early Dragon Ball, you see how much of Journey to the West influenced from the Monkey Tail to just Uran is the Monkey King's sidekick later on in the story is a pig demon.
Oh right, and Oolong, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, before Tobirama always had this idea of as the further he goes on with his story, the more the other characters become irrelevant, except Goku and Vegeta. And even Vegeta at some points becomes irrelevant and he kind of just forgets about. And that's how the Yamcha meme started because when Yamcha is just irrelevant at the start of Z, he never has a golden moment.
It's
And
such a
so like
shame.
but people forget how important Yamcha was in early Dragon Ball.
I oh god, like when I first started getting into Dragon Ball, and Z was on the air, and I'm like going back to check out some of the starting to watch Dragon Ball. Like Yamcha was kind of my favorite character, and just seeing him kind of fall by the wayside, and just like he loses to Krillin.
Yeah.
Huh. I just
Yeah,
saw something here.
it's they kind of interesting how a lot of it happens with a lot of the characters like in the throughout the Dragon Ball series is that they just become kind of side characters and irrelevant. But I do like how in the Super Tournament of Power arc they did try and bring back some of the like older characters to make them like they even brought back Master Roshi to do something.
Yeah.
That was cool. I appreciate that, and of course, like they had the whole androids bringing Android 17 back was pretty big.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of fan service there that I think really pleased fans. I mean, Gohan getting to fight alongside his dad for the tournament is great for the fans, the Gohan fans out there. Krillin getting to have all these great moments. I mean, heck, even TN.
Was Tien in the Tournament of Power? I forget.
Or was he in the other? Maybe it was in the other tournament.
Maybe. Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe the other tournament. I forget a lot of the one with Hit. I forgot there were two tournaments.
Team Universe 7. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Boo. Oh yeah, Monica, Gohan, Krillin, Roshi. Yeah, Tien.
Cool.
Huh. Apparently, Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be ending in September.
Yeah, the manga, I guess.
Just
Yeah,
heard
I
about
just
that.
started the anime. I just started the anime. I like the horror stuff in it. It's pretty cool. I'm going to definitely check out more of it.
Oh, God, that first season has such a great closing theme.
I'll have to stay and listen to it then.
That's one of those
So
ones.
yeah,
That's
do you know when Leon is doing his rankings for anime openings again?
I do not, and and I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I could try to get in on that one
Oh
for
yeah, me
next time.
too. Because I have suggestions. I even have some, like, because I know one of the ones I suggested was like everyone hated, and I do have like some other ones I know people will hate. I forget what they were now, but I had one that I know is like a pretty bad opening that I think um. So yeah, we got to do that again. That was really really fun.
Yeah, we'll have heck. We'll probably like wind up going off air and going back and forth like, oh, you watch this one? Like, no, I didn't watch this one. You check out this one? Oh yeah, and just having that fun little back and forth. Like it got to the
Yeah.
point where I now have a playlist on YouTube that I'll throw on some days when I'm at work, and it's just a bunch of random like theme songs from anime. Like, oh, I've got to listen to Cruel Angel's Thesis, and I got to listen to half the openings to Bleach. Hey, the half the openings in Overlord are on on that playlist now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Overlord.
Oh,
Oh man, that is an anime I started, but then like I dropped it. Like, I really liked the whole thing with the lizard characters, but I didn't finish that second season. I got kind of like I got kind of bored. I think it also might have been that was when I was falling out with Crunchyroll, I guess, and like, getting pissed off at Funimation, or well, one or the other. But they all merged into one now, so
yeah.
I gotta dislike both of them now. Yeah,
Well,
so,
I guess
that
there's always
that has been really like one of the big things of limiting my anime exposure and why I've gone to supporting piracy. And I was always a dubs guy. I was always a dubs guy because it was easier for me. And anime is kind of harder now with old subtitles, especially like really exposition heavy anime like My Hero Academia is like
hmm
super hard to keep up with if you're doing it with subtitles.
have you have you checked out High Dive?
I do have High Dive. I do
Okay,
have High Dive. I wish it's the thing is it's not on a TV app. It's not on my TV app. Like, yeah, for some reason it's not on a lot of TV apps or consoles.
because I
I
know that I have a Roku TV, so I at least have it through that for myself.
Oh yeah, so maybe you get it through Okit. I don't get it on my Samsung TV, unfortunately.
Mm.
I
Well,
might be able to get it through my Xbox. I might be able to get it through my Xbox. I'm going to test that when I get home. And then, if I do, I'm going to start binging some raunchy anime and some nice Eminence in Shadow. Because
so you so you what you could try doing is casting from your phone to your TV.
I could try that.
But I mean, first things first, you got to go catch up on Plus Size Elf.
No, 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 Michael, no more Dustborn. We are not doing that for a while. I once was enough.
Oh, oh my gosh! Did you see like the peak player count for that game?
Yeah, 2072. One of them was probably me when I was streaming it the other day.
You're in an
And yeah,
exclusive club.
it's awful. It's barely even a game. It's like, they advertised it as an action game. It's a fucking visual novel, and like I didn't get combat till an hour, and then after that combat is over, they asked me, "Would you like less combat?" Like, I was just waiting for it to become a game. All I did was just listen to these zooms like talk, and I didn't even get to Trump land yet, and it's like so like so I haven't even gotten to the full cringe that's probably waiting for me.
I was able to catch about 5 minutes of your stream on it. When they're like when they're basically trying to go break in and steal people's private property.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I remember you dropped in. Oh, it gets even worse. You didn't see me play Ghostbusters with all the negative disinformation about vaccines and stuff. You basically capture wrongthink like a moderator and you
what?
ban it. Yeah, you capture it in a Game Boy, like Ghostbusters, and they even repeatedly reference Ghostbusters when doing it. And you capture all the wrong ideas. It's like the noise that makes people do bad things and say the wrong thing. It is pro censorship. The game. It is cringe incarnate. And no, Michael, we aren't gonna play it for a while. That once was enough. I don't care how many views the replay has gotten. We are not doing it. We are not doing it for a while. No, I can't.
Well, you see, that's the thing, though. If the audience wants it, you got to give it to them. So, folks,
Yes,
if you want him
I
to play
do.
more Dustborn, like we're gonna need some more super chats because we gotta get some alcohol to help fund this. So, guys, drop a donation. Let's feel the pain and suffering.
Yeah, Dork says he's gonna go watch my dustboard play. It was something. It's very like people even told me they had to drop in and out of the stream just because the game was so insufferable. I don't blame them. I honestly don't. I wanted to like at least complete the level before I stopped, but like it just the level wouldn't stop, so I just like screw it, we're done. We're at the 3 hour mark. I was like, I think I might have even outlasted Synthetic Man. I think I might have outlasted Synthetic Man. He
Now,
was also playing Dustborn, and then when I tuned back, he wasn't playing it. So I think I might have gone farther than him.
and this was $30.
Yes.
I gotta look at the reviews now.
One of them's from me.
All the positive ones at the top.
Oh, there's a lot of fake positive reviews by like 4 people, and then like you see, there's got to be more negative reviews now. I just think it's just a lot of people who aren't like buying it to make fun of it are just not playing this game because it's such an uninteresting game. Who would
It
want to play like
it sounds like
the
this is gonna. It sounds like this is gonna want to be one of those games that gets gifted to people on Steam as a meme. You know, like all the Sex with Hitler games.
maybe, maybe. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up now. Ironcaster, you were a terrific guest. And
Oh,
I want to thank you all for watching the stream. You guys were great. And Orc, thank you so much for that generous super sticker in the beginning. That was like, wow, man. Thanks. Anyways, thank you all for watching. This has been Talk No Jutsu. I'm Dash Attack.
I'm
Well, I'm
Ironcaster.
doing Andy's thing. I'm doing Andy's thing. Like I'm stealing Andy's outro. So like how do I forget how do I normally end these? Oh,
Well,
it's
what
like,
you do
oh
is
yeah,
you got to steal from the best.
yeah. So like, this is Dash Attack signing out. Take care. That's how I do it. Okay.
Bye.